Okay, this is another episode of Sound Only, my audio video um, podcast. Alright, so this time I'm gonna take a look at Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. After having a lot of people recommend the series to me, I decided let me watch the show because it's free on YouTube if you live in the United States. But if you don't, sometimes YouTube will block some things because it's not licensed in the country that you're in. So, or the licensee isn't giving YouTube the permission to show it. So, as I always do, let me go over the story. Um, According to Wikipedia, the plot of Code Geass is that the series is set after Japan's conquest by the Holy Britannian Empire on August 10th, 2010, ATB, I guess after the Britannia, with their powerful new robot weapons, which are called nightmare frames, stripping Japan and its citizens of all rights and freedoms and renaming the country Area 11. The titular Lelouch is a Britannian prince who was disowned by his father, Emperor Charles Z. Britannia, after his mother was murdered, and he vowed to kill his father, the emperor, and destroy Britannia. He gains an ability through the mysterious power of the Geass, which means I think it's the power of the king, and he becomes the leader of the resistance movement to fulfill his two wishes: one, to seek revenge for his mother's death, and two, to construct a world in which his beloved sister Nunnally can live happy. Now, I had tried to see the show before. I got up to like episode 2 after remember, this is called super spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I recommend not listening to this and watching the show then listening to it. So I saw episodes 1 and 2, and 2 ended with him killing wait, well, 2 ended with him ordering Clovis, the viceroy, to end the ceasefire because they were looking at the in the first episode, like the Britannians were going crazy, I guess, looking for C2 and killing a lot of people. But in the second episode, Lelouch orders Clovis to make a ceasefire. I think using his Geass. So then, from episode 3, episode 3 isn't that good an episode either. I think I got hooked in episode 4 when the episode 4 is called His Name is Zero, when Lelouch decided to bring up the mantle, the persona, the icon of Zero. Let me see. Then episode 6, Princess and the Witch. That's when Cece returns, which was a surprise because she died in the first episode. Episode 6, The Stolen Mask, is a different take. It's like a more funny episode. It's a cat that runs around the campus with Zero's mask on, and comedic chase follows. Number 7 is Attack Cornelia. We get introduced to Cornelia, who's Lelouch's sister, but not from the same mom, the half-sister. Then The Black Knights is episode 8. That's when Lelouch as Zero creates the Black Knights, allies of justice. Number 9 is Refrain, which is about a drug that the Japanese take to relieve their to remember the past and relive their good times. Number 10, Gurren Dances, is the introduction of the Gurren Mark II, which is that red, ugly nightmare frame with the big claw hand. Episode 10, the battle for Narita, is a pretty good episode. You get to see Lelouch as Zero using his tactical skills, because he's a tactician. He in the first episode you see him playing chess, but in episodes to follow he's the tactician. And for some reason, without him, the rest of the Black Knights are like, oh, we don't know what to do. I mean, well, I'm gonna die. Which, I don't know. It made me like the character of Lelouch a little more. So, episode 11 is Battle for Narita. Episode 12 is The Messenger from Kyoto. This episode has a scene with one of the girls, I think her name's Nina, doing something naughty to a table, which was weird. This comes into play later in the series, but I didn't like that girl. I didn't like Nina. She didn't even redeem herself at the end of the series to me. Episode 13 is Shirley at Gunpoint. Shirley, the girl at school that Lelouch knows, finds out that Lelouch is Zero. Episode 14, Geass versus Geass. This one's an interesting one. We get introduced to Mao, a guy who has the power to read minds. And once again, in the second episode of that arc, episode 15, cheering Mao, we see how Lelouch is a smart guy and gets over Mao, even though at the end Mao gets his, or so we think. Episode 16 is Nunnally held hostage. So yeah, Mao didn't die, but he does get his end at the end of this episode. Episode 16 is Night. This is when Suzaku becomes a knight to Euphemia, who is Clovis and Cornelia's younger sister. Number 18 is I Order You, Suzaku Kurugi, which is when they knight Suzaku, and let me see. I don't think anything interesting happenings. Well, it does. This does end with a cliffhanger. This episode, number 18. Number 19 is Island of the Gods, where I guess Euphemia finds out that Lelouch is Zero, and meanwhile Suzaku finds out that Callan is actually one of the Black Knights. Number 20, the Battle for Kyushu. Nina, Miss I Love Tables, and Princess Euphemia gives she meets Euphemia and they talk and stuff. And let me see. I don't remember much about that. Then there's 21, the School Festival Declaration. I think this is another one of those comedic episodes. Euphemia goes to the school festival, and at the end she makes a special announcement that she wants to make a specially administrative zone of Japan. Everyone's against this, but Euphemia and Suzaku, I guess they're like, yeah. Number 22. This is I think this is the most messed up episode of the whole series, just because of one scene in it. After you watch the show, you know just by the title what happens. Bloodstained Elfie. I'm not gonna spoil it. You gotta see this for yourself. It's that good. Number 23 is At Least with Sorrow, the conclusion. It's like the 22 and 23 are one arc. 24, the collapsing stage, we get introduced that there's a kid, I thought it was a little girl, called V2, who tells Suzaku about Zero's power of Geass. And number 25 is Zero. This ends with this is the last episode of the first season. It ends with a big battle. And it ends also in a cliffhanger, which I think if the series ended there, I would have been really pissed. But luckily or unluckily, there were no more episodes on YouTube for the rest of the season, so I had to go elsewhere using Google, and I finished watching season 2 on the internet. But the first season, I don't think I liked the character of Suzaku. He was a dummy. He was like, I want peace, and like Kiriyamato, he'd be blowing stuff up. I mean, everyone wants peace, but you can't be like, surrender, I'll blow you up, and then blow someone up. You know, that's the same as if they decided to surrender, you just blow them up. I didn't like Suzaku. I did like Lelouch. He was a good character, but no one else stood out to me in the first season. They were either annoying or they just blended in the background. So let's move on to season 2. The first episode of the season 2 is The Day a Demon Awakens. It's kind of weird how this season begins, because they don't explain what happened at the end of season 1 until the end of the episode. Then there's episode 2, Plan for Independent Japan. I think Zero broadcasted he plans to recreate the United States of Japan. And we get introduced to the Chinese Federation. Episode 3, Imprisoned in Campus. Let me see. I don't remember that one that much. Episode 4, Counterattack at the Gallows. Don't. Episode 5, Knights of the Round. This is a cliffhanger episode at the end. Suzaku's a dick. He's like, here, I want you to speak to someone, Lelouch. Then there's episode 6, Surprise Attack over the Pacific. Then number 7, The Abandoned Mask. In this episode, I think Lelouch, he's all depressed and emo, and he wants to give up being Zero because he feels that Zero's not needed anymore. That's why the episode's called The Abandoned Mask. And he's about to take some refrain, some drug to relive the good times, and Callan makes him realize that, you know, there's still stuff he can do. It's not over yet. It ain't over till it's over. Episode 8 is 1 Million Miracles. This one ends pretty good. Again, a testament to how good of a tactician and manipulator Lelouch is. Episode 9, A Bride in the Vermilion Forbidden City. This is kind of whack. And then 10, When Shenhu Wins Glory. These two episodes involve like the Chinese Federation and a little girl and a wedding. Number 11, Power of Passion. Lelouch learns some ninja skills, and he learns how to run. I think it's like Naruto. um, and there's a new nightmare frame introduced, the Shinkiro. But they all look the same. I only like the one that has a double pilot cockpit, but I don't even know the name of that thing. Number 12, the episode is Love Attack. This is one of those comedic, funny episodes. So we had two um, in season one, and I think there's two in season two. Also, and then Assassin from the Past. Let me see. This in this episode, Orange he decides to join Lelouch as a knight. I mean, as one of his Black Knights. Episode 14 is Geass Hunt. In this episode, Zero and the Black Knights go to the place where I guess Geasses are made, and they start attacking the place. And 15 is the Seas world. I don't know what the Seas mean, but it's like this weird dimension that sometimes you might see Charles at. Number 16, the United Federation Nations Resolution number 1. This is a whole bunch of nations have been uniting against Britannia. So the Black Knights, when this United Federation of Nations is formed, their first thing to do is to liberate Area 11, aka Japan. And Nina, the crazy table-loving girl, she develops a weapon of mass destruction. Who would have known? She's crazy. Number 17, Taste of Humiliation. Let me see. Then there's number 18, Final Battle, Tokyo, number 2. We see that in this episode, what the Flasia, the weapon of mass destruction, can do. And thanks, Nina. You're you're a nutcase. Oh, you didn't know it would kill a lot of people? What was it gonna do? Tickle them? Number 19, Betrayal. Let me see. This is I like this episode. And the guys at Gundam did bring out a point that Schneisel comes over to the Black Knights. He's like he's he's Euphemia's brother. I guess another brother. Clovis, Euphemia, Cornelia. So he comes over to the Black Knights and he's like, you know what? Zero isn't actually Japanese. He's a Britannian prince. Zero told them, like in the 10th episode of the first series, I'm not Japanese. What the heck were they thinking? And it's like, oh yeah, let's follow this guy who wants to keep on being a dictator to us because it's good, and let's betray the guy who got us this far. Who knows how many years we were doing this rebellion thing, this terrorist underground thing, but no, let's throw it down the drain just because our enemy says that the guy leading us is a prince. Yeah, you know what? That's why there's no other character of the series that I like other than Lelouch. Ugh, bunch of dumbasses. Episode 20, Emperor Dismissed. You may leave, Emperor. I think Lelouch confronts The his father, the Emperor Charles. Episode 21, the Ragnarok connection. Um, we learn about the truth behind Lelouch and Nunnally's mom's death, and because the Emperor reveals it, and their plan for the world. But you know what? When you got this big thing of hair, Mr. Charles Z. Britannia, doesn't help you think that well. Episode 22, Emperor Lelouch. No, you already know what happened in the first in episode 21 just by the name of 22. But you gotta see what happens. Episode 23, Schneizo's guys. We get introduced to the Damocles. I think no, this is the second appearance of Damocles and the Flesia, and everyone fights. As you can see, it's episode 23, and then we got episode 24 and episode 25, which is the two-parter for the end of the whole series. The series does have a great ending, because through the series, through the end of the second season, the Lelouch gets painted as a bad guy. You know, the Black Knights don't like him. Sister doesn't like him. Suzaku doesn't like him. So if Rolo doesn't like him, at the end of episode 25, he redeems all that, and you can see that even that was a plan in Lelouch, the mastermind's brain. This is a good series. I don't think I would watch it again. I think it's like, I don't think it would bear repeat viewing, but I think you should at least watch this series once. Remember that when you're watching season 1, that you have to get past 3 episodes. You have to at least start by episode 4. Episode 4 is called, what's that again? His name is Zero. That's where you gotta hold on for those first 3 episodes, and from His Name is Zero on, you're good. You're golden, pony boy. So that's my review of Code Geass, Lelouch, the Rebellion. I hope you like it. If you can't get through YouTube, like I said, you'll probably be able to find the episodes on your own. All right. Thank you very much. See ya.